Welcome to the Indian Newslink podcast.
Good afternoon. We have Dr. Pankaj Choudhary, who is the Economic Policy Advisor with special reference to the OBC, other backward communities in India. He's the advisor to the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. He also has another hat as the professor in Delhi University, one of the finest universities in India. He's on a visit to New Zealand, and we welcome him to our offices of Indian Newslink in Glendowie. We also have the pleasure of our dear friend, Simon Bridges, Chief Executive of Auckland Business Chamber. Simon, many thanks for organizing this meeting, and we look forward, of course, to closer interaction with you and the Business Chamber in the months and years to come. नमस्कार पंकज जी,
नमस्कार,
स्वागत है आपकी. आप बताइए कि आपके तो you are welcome to our beautiful country. Please tell us something about yourself so that we can progress with the discussion.
Yes, as you have mentioned, I right now I'm teaching as a professor in law faculty in Delhi University. I teach international law, international relations.
Right.
And I joined politics at a very early age, and it was a coincidence to join. But then I joined the student wing of the RSS, ABVP. I was a national member. Then I was elected as a president of a students wing. And when our party, the BJP, was not in the power, and
This was prior to 2014.
Yes. And we did a lot of agitations, a lot of protests. We were standing all the time with the party. And then when party came to the power, I became I was active in the youth politics. Then I was the youngest one to be as a representative of the youth wing of the BJP. And I was.
What brought you to BJP?
So BJP is one thing, sir, that I always think BJP selected me, not me. Okay. Many a times it's a very rare statement to speak for a politician. But then when I realized it, what is the beauty of this party? That this is something which governs and runs by the ideology, which is working for social justice, which is working to empower every section of the society, which is in a sense wants to promote the business community in the India, which is not a socialism, which is not a capitalism. It's a balance that we have to maintain, and it's a party with a difference, because many a times I always say there is no other single party in the country right now, whether on the national, on the regional. Regional, I would say a second generation,
Right.
Leave the first generation, which is not a family party.
Right.
They've more or less been run by one single family, and BJP is the only party. And this is not the only reason that I joined, but there are other reasons from how which they see or perceive the nationalism.
So from RSS, it was a natural transition for you.
Yes, it's a natural transition that I wanted to join the youth wing. Then after the youth wing party, because it's a party which you never ask. It's like your mother.
Yeah.
It always understands, and it will give your position what you have to fit. Then they gave me after the second Lok Sabha elections.
That is 2019.
Yes, after they gave me the official position as a research and policy wing for the 60% of whole of the India's population. And because I come from that community, they say because you are learned, you are educated, then you should do work for that community to work with the BJP and
Right.
with the nation. So that's my major role right now.
So your role is also to dispel the myth that BJP is not for OBC.
Yes, because we always say our Prime Minister is from that community. And
Why is this coming up again and again, Pankaj? Why is this backward class? Why is this Dalit coming up? It was also heard in America recently in the Sundarayar case. How do you manage your conversation with this? How do you manage this?
I always say that if you look at the ancient books, if you look at the very ancient, the Vedics, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, they never mention about any of this caste.
Yeah.
The Manu first time it mentioned it, and it's never given by the birth. It's always by the deeds. Right? But many people, they misunderstood the thing, and it became into practice, and it was exaggerated during the British time also. And before the British also, the casta word is not even an Indian origin word. It's a Portuguese word. And they gave it the castas, and then the divide and policy, which was a prominent reason for that, for the ruling in India, which is the biggest subcontinent in the Asia. But I would rather say, it is the one thing that we have to overcome, and even if we believe it or not. And Modi ji is working after 2024. Our mantra was that development has to reach to the lower strata of the people. And when it reaches to the true people, then the development really means what it's a development. That's what we say in economics also. The growth and development means different. Yeah. It's growth is a number, development means not, it's your overall, in a sense.
So you are involved in some charities, I understand?
So I run one foundation. This is called Let's Do It India Foundation. But that's very separate from the political background.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I was a founder, but then I quit because I was inactive in politics. I was a founder of that foundation.
So has it something to do with the OBC?
No, it works in very conscious world.
Okay. So now you're in the mainstream politics of BJP. So obviously you are working towards the 2024 election.
Yes.
So what are the initiatives that you will bring about, and how it would dovetail with the BJP government, and how we in New Zealand can engage ourselves with India and improve our relationship?
Yes. So what Modi ji is basically doing is a very fundamental changes in the society.
Yeah.
If you look at our 100 years old labor laws, they were replaced into the 4 major codes. If you look at the education policy, they have replaced the new education policy. So it's a fundamental changes the skill. We call it the Startup India. In only a short span of period of time, India is among the 3 largest startup ecosystem in the world. Yeah. We have made the sanctuary of unicorn, which no other country has ever made in this span of time. So when we look at the relationship with New Zealand and India, we have to harness those particular fundamental changes what Modi ji has done, and we can have to see our position in those particular things. How the Startup India, Startup New Zealand come together. I always say, this not only the business community, but the cultural ecosystem, the sports ecosystem. I was amazed to know when I was coming to the New Zealand from the High Commission, he invited me for a coffee. He said, Pankaj, do you know your national hero, the Major Dhyan Chand, came to New Zealand to teach hockey in the New Zealand. Yeah. And I was very amazed to know this.
We were world champions in hockey once upon a time.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a relationship that we have to know, acknowledge, and we have to do something about it. Because people connect from those small points. That if we do something on the name of Major Dhyan Chand in New Zealand, then that's the sympathy, the emotions of Indian and New Zealand will connect. So small things, and I see it's with the changing dynamics of evolving this global dynamics and the security parameters. I think the New Zealand India has to become natural brothers to overcome those maritime securities concerns and other concerns, not only in New Zealand but the neighboring islands.
Do you have any brief on that as to whether you have any security concerns in New Zealand? Have you been briefed anything?
No, nothing. I don't have any of these security concerns. It's a geopolitical concern that I was briefed.
That is understandable. Yes. India has had a lot of concern in the last 6 months, especially since September. From your point of view, what is your main objective of this? I'm sure this is this is just the beginning for you. You will be coming as often as possible to New Zealand so that we can engage with you even more and better. What are you really looking for in New Zealand? Is there any particular area of interest?
So, in areas of interest is to come these 2 countries together in the fields of sectors which we naturally can mutually benefit. My role is to observe and to give report and to understand what we can do collaborative. Because I always say the resounding, the power of leadership. It comes from this collaboration, simplicity, authenticity, correct, not only in deeds but also in the words. And leadership comes from the Modi ji. So he's keen to make relationship with Pacific region as a whole. apart from the Australia, which New Zealand is you can say, natural leader in the Pacific. And I naturally believe that my role should be as a catalyst, as a bridge.
I think you're right, Pankajji, because India is quite close now to Australia. India is very close to Fiji, if you take the Pacific Island countries. And India is a major benefactor to countries like Samoa,
Yes.
Papua New Guinea, and a few other countries of the oceanic region. But there is a greater opportunity that we can have with a country like New Zealand, where the relationship dates back to hundreds of years. That has not somehow materialized over the last, despite all our efforts. So many of us have tried in the past several years. But with the young leadership like yours, you people coming into the equation, and with Modi ji also wanting to develop better relationship with New Zealand, I believe there are opportunities, because we now have people like Simon Bridges,
Yes.
who has come from absolute hotbed of politics into his role as the largest chamber in the country.
Yes.
And our anxiety to engage with India is very high now, because we have to use the emerging opportunities that India offers. Similarly, New Zealand offers a lot of opportunities. Unfortunately, we have not been able to match the ambitions.
But as you know, our external minister has just mentioned that New Zealand-India relation is ready for its next phase.
Yeah.
He has used this phrase. So I think everything.
I met him last year.
So everything has its own time, and it's a time to make relationships
I think
stronger.
people like you will be able to bring new dynamics into the relationship, because moving forward, I think will depend on how India accepts what New Zealand can offer, and what New Zealand can readily accept what India has to offer. There are so many possibilities that exist, which we have seen in the last 24-25 years. There's been a lot of discussion and visits have taken place. But I think now it is good time to start.
Yes.
And with someone like you driving the policy initiative of the biggest party in India, the ruling party, I am very encouraged. I now believe that we can move forward much better. And Todd McLeay, have you met him?
I think it's coming to.
Yeah. You'll find him very young, he's very dynamic,
Okay.
and he also knows that what to expect from India and how to approach.
Okay.
What he told all of us is that we are going to approach with a clean slate.
Yeah, this is.
We are not
right.
going to say we want this, we want that.
Very
We,
right
we
approach.
want to ask India where to start.
Okay.
I think that's a good. Then
That's a
as
very good
Jacob
approach.
said, one of the places sectors where India and New Zealand can straight away engage is the timber industry.
Now, if you would see that in the last week only, the Modi ji went to Dubai in COP28.
Yeah.
He mentioned,
COP28,
yes,
yeah.
and he mentioned very, very specifically. And if you see even the G20, the two things on the main agenda was a climate change and sustainable development. And he mentioned very clearly in this COP28 also that climate justice, climate finance, and the green credits.
Yeah.
And if we even look at the sectors of agri-tech, the timber, it will be definitely coming under the green credit system. This is also one of the schemes that I was telling
Maybe
you.
Jacob, you should meet Pankaj in Delhi.
I will talk to
Definitely,
him.
definitely.
We had negotiated with Tata House. We met the CEO.
So we are very, very clear about those things.
Pankaj, my ambition is
Yes, please, sir.
G20. India announced an economic corridor
Yes,
going right across to alternative route to Suez Canal
yes.
to connect right up to Saudi Arabia and Europe and all that. I am hoping that there will be an occasion where you will be able to connect Australia and New Zealand with countries of the subcontinent. In some, I mean, it sounds very far-fetched, but it's quite possible if we all
Definitely, because India has talked in G20 apart from all those things.
Yes.
As it has become as a natural leader for the global south. Right?
Yeah, global south. Yeah.
So we are giving the leadership to the global south, and we have to do something about this Pacific the New Zealand specifically. And Australia is much has been done and it can be done. But very nascent, I think, would be saying to that we have to do something with New Zealand for sure.
I think we will treat you as the BJP ambassador to New Zealand. No, because after talking to you personally, I'm sure Simon will share this and Jacob will. I'm very confident now. I'm very confident that we will be moving in the right direction. And if we can guide our government here to say the right things, to do the right things and move in the right direction, we can achieve a lot. Because the two peoples are together. There is no two ways about it between New Zealanders and Indians. But it is the political mechanism that has to be worked out to achieve economic results. Nobody knows better than you.
It's good. It's a good time because Modi ji is coming for the third time, much confident, much more mandate, and
people are already predicting the number of seats.
No, if I tell you this very simple thing, sir, he came into the electoral politics very late, at the age of 50s. He has never lost a single election.
Correct.
Like in more than 20 years of his, and only he has won the elections to become a head of the government, whether it's a state or federal, and it can only happen with the clear mandate of the people. And he has been longest serving public servant as a head of the state in the independent India.
So can we say that Dr. Pankaj Choudhary has visited New Zealand to understand what New Zealand is and how we can work together and how we can bring two countries together economically, commercially, trade-wise, etc. And what are you going to do here? You came here yesterday.
I came here 2 days back, and I'm going day after tomorrow in the morning. So
who all did you meet?
So my main host is Mr. Simon.
Yeah.
And I met a few Indians also, and I met in the business chamber people who are working in trade, who are working in cultural societies to bring together. And this is my main agenda to understand. I met the foreign trade office and the foreign affairs offices also to understand what's their point of view for the India. And as a very private manner that I've understood. Because my main target for this particular small visit for 4 days to understand. Because
so we can expect you early next year?
Definitely, sir, definitely.
Maybe we will organize an event and invite you. You should come along.
You should invite it to one of the lectures, no?
Yeah.
Definitely.
We have a lecture series. Every year we do a lecture. Perhaps we can invite you sometime in March if you can come.
Definitely.
Because we will bring together a few hundred business people.
Okay.
You can give a lecture for about 30 minutes. I'll write to you. Please, I'm very serious. We can progress it. We can have it early March, and we can ask Simon to be a part of the.
It would be honor side.
It's an annual lecture series we do.
Okay.
Very good idea. I'll write to you. Is it the same email that we find in Delhi University?
Yes, I have a few emails. You can. The
I'll take
simple
it
one
down
is
before you.
Pankaj@.
Sir, we have arranged lunch for you, so we will. Before that, can you give us a concluding statement? Then I will take Simon.
So my concluding remarks would be, sir, कि everything has its own time and at the right time. I think New Zealand India has come at the right place at the right time to make this relation to go further in the deep, and I think they touch the sky. It would be deep under the sea and would touch all the skies in the relationships. And we are privileged that Indian community has done so good. I always say the Indian community, where it goes, it mingles with that society so well that it harnessed that society as a whole. And this is a beauty of Indian people wherever they go on the planet. So whatever we might be and we would be doing in the New Zealand, it's only and only because of Indian community, what they have given to this nation for more than 100 years. And we would be from the side of government and society of India, would be honored to do something good for both of the nations. Because ultimately, we in Indians, we believe in a very simple philosophy, Vasudev Kutumbakam, and with the Modi's philosophy as a Vishwamitra, that we want to be friends of the families, one earth, one family. And I see as a natural brothers New Zealand, India, and to grow faster and prosperous.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Pankaj ji, and we will wish you well, and we would like you to come again, and we will work on your next visit. Namaskar sab logon ko.
Thank you for listening to the Indian Newslink podcast.